expert interrogators can see through deception.
What I tell you about lying? You can't lie for a while.
And persuade the guilty to admit their crimes. But what are the interrogators' secrets?
My God, you better start telling it.
And how can the innocent prevail when facing a pro?
I didn't kill nobody, man. What are you talking about?
You're going to reveal the truth one way or another.
So you understand you're not under arrest?
Yeah.
When an interrogator confronts a suspect, it may be the only chance police have to find out the truth about a crime.
I understand that you were brought down here because something happened to one of your neighbors, is that right?
Yeah, the lady downstairs.
May 26, 2004. San Antonio, Texas police officers respond to a possible homicide at the home of 29-year-old Celia Martinez.
Police!
After a quick search, they find her lifeless body in the shower. The young mother of 7 had been brutally beaten and stabbed multiple times. Police become suspicious of 45-year-old Armando Aleman. He and his wife rent an upstairs room from Martinez. Aleman tells police he has no idea what happened to his landlady, but detectives notice spots of blood behind his ear. Aleman is facing Detective Curtis Walker, a 13-year veteran interrogator.
How are you doing, sir?
All right.
Detective Walker, San Antonio Police.
That is the first thing you should be doing. So we gave him eye contact. Now, the suspect did not give eye contact back. He actually looked down and just said, yeah, doing good.
I don't know anything about the case. I got to get everything from you, okay?
Their mom was accusing us of killing her daughter, and we had nothing to do with it. We were upstairs.
Interrogators know what to look for when a suspect is lying. It begins with unconscious signals that we all give off when we're being deceptive. Interrogators call them a person's tells.
Everyone has a different tell, just like in poker. You figure out what people's tells are.
Former ATF agent Janine Driver trains interrogators to keep a close eye on gestures and posture. Anything out of place can be a sign of deception.
We all know our tells of our children and of our best friends or our mother, and it's the same exact thing, but cops have to do it in a short amount of time with a stranger.
To determine a suspect's tell, an investigator first tries to get a sense of his normal body language.
I want to have as casual a conversation as possible up front to get a good solid baseline.
Retired U.S. Army interrogator Greg Hartley has spent years studying criminals and terrorists.
I'm looking for what's normal as you can get in an interrogation.
To establish Armando Aleman's baseline, Detective Walker asks him questions completely unrelated to the murder.
Where do you work at?
Mama's Cafe, downtown.
I don't think I've tried that one yet.
It's good food.
Then, as Walker begins to ask Aleman more direct questions, he'll look for subtle changes in Aleman's body language.
What happened?
Oh, I don't know. I guess there was a lot of blood on the floor or something.
Interrogators know that the stress caused by lying can trigger deviations from normal behavior.
Okay. Did you see that or did
No,
somebody?
we were upstairs. No, I didn't see it.
He's doing something very weird with his left hand. He's got his left arm like tucked up underneath his stomach there. It looks out of place.
When you are cognizant of a lie that you might be caught in, your eyes start to dry, so your blink rate increases. You get thirsty. Your skin gets pale because there's no need for blood in your skin. You need it in your muscles.
Unusual eye movements can mean suspects are thinking too hard about the details of their story because they're making things up.
Did you meet her first at the club?
Yeah, we
meet her
met her
first
at
at the
the club.
apartments.
At the club.
And how long ago was that?
Wow. We've been going here for a while.
Blink, 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 blink. He's creating. He's just pulling stuff out of air.
Gee.
When I look at people looking up to think, I think it's bizarre.
Well, I couldn't really tell you how long. See, I don't really talk to the person.
He said, I don't really talk to the person. He knows her name is Celia, and now he's saying, I don't even know the person. This is called distancing language. This is what people do when they don't want to be associated to the lie that they're about to tell you or the crime that they committed. They'll say the person or the child or that woman because it's creating distance.
I have noticed, and one of the officers told me, that you had some, what looked like blood on you.
They had mentioned that. I said, where?
Can you tell me how that might have happened?
Well, I scratched my ear because
You
there's
scratched
something
your
biting me.
Okay.
So,
Well, that explains that.
Most suspects fear forensic science.
Whoever hurt Celia probably left something behind, and they probably took some of Celia's DNA. If I touch you right now, I'm probably going to have your DNA on me. That's a scientific fact.
It's not me calling you a bad guy. It's the evidence that's going to show up. It's the evidence that's going to sell you out, not me. So he's taking himself out of the equation. Very smart.
I want you to think about that for a minute. I'm going to go get me a soda water. I notice you have one and I don't have one.
oh, sorry.
I want you to think while I'm gone about being untruthful.
Isolating a subject can allow an interrogator to observe his behavior and catch him off guard.
He has obviously no idea he's being watched. He's washing that now. He's licking his arm. And it's very strategic to have those paper towels there to give that guy an opportunity, the suspect, to wipe himself down. Awesome.
Aleman's incriminating display gives Detective Walker the leverage he needs.
Mr. Aleman, what I want to do at this point is give you the opportunity to tell me what really happened out there. Okay?
At some point, they're good interrogators. They're going to stop and say, look, what you're telling me doesn't add up. I'm going to start the accusatory process.
You have given me solid inconsistencies, okay? Everything, all your body language, everything about your demeanor today is indicating signs of deception. You done with your Coke?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is the close. Turning that heat up. You can feel it, just turning it up.
This rag that you wiped your ear off with, it's going to go to the crime lab. When that blood comes up to be Celia's, you're going to have a hard time explaining how you wiped your little sore or whatever on your ear and got Celia's blood.
He is closing the loop and tightening the collar around his neck. That's an effective interrogation technique. It's actually my favorite. To come back hard at the end instead of trying to be hard-nosed all along.
You want to start over from scratch?
What do you mean?
You're not telling me why and how you killed Celia.
I didn't.
Absolutely you did. I'm not asking you to tell me that you did it, because I know that. We can prove that in court. All I'm asking you is whether or not you want to tell us why you did it. That's it.
Really good use of silence. Sometimes 30 seconds of dead silence is more powerful than thousands of words, because now you're feeling like you're sitting there drowning and no one's coming to your rescue.
Whoever speaks first loses.
Okay, one reason. It's because she kept on charging us more money than we should have.
Aleman's body language changes as he tells the truth.
He's getting it off his chest, and you'll see a change from the whole interview up until now. This is the real him. He's telling the truth.
My wife said, no, we're not going to give you any more money. We already paid your rent. And so, that's when it started. And that's when I lost it.
What did you do?
I hit her on the head. I just kept on hitting her.
It's a full confession, legally obtained and admissible in court.
It's absolutely the hardest thing you'll do. A lot of good interrogators can get a lot of information, but so few people can nail what they really need.
That officer was extraordinary. I mean, it's just textbook all the way.
18 months later, a judge sentences Aleman to life in prison. Detective Walker got Aleman to confess to murder in about an hour. But Aleman had no criminal record and had never faced an interrogator before. Hardened criminals are another story. Coming up next, a detective faces down a serial rapist and tries against all odds to save the lives of 2 young women.
Are we going to find either girl alive?
Every time an interrogator enters that bare room and faces a suspect, it's a unique challenge. The tactics have to fit the situation, and criminals who face down interrogators before present the toughest challenge of all.
They learn from their interviews and interrogations what you're doing to them, what tricks you use. They talk about it in prison, and it makes your job that much more difficult.
April 1999. San Luis Obispo, California. Police are searching for 2 missing women, Andrea Crawford and Rachel Newhouse, both 20 years old. They believe that a paroled serial rapist named Rex Krebs can tell them what happened. Police found blood on the jump seat of his pickup. Krebs doesn't know it, but DNA testing confirms that the blood is Rachel Newhouse's. So the challenge facing veteran detective Larry Hobson is how to get a tough ex-con who knows all the interrogator's tricks to come clean.
I'm sure you've thought about a lot of this stuff that's going on.
Well, I'm sitting here looking at you in jail for something I didn't do.
Okay. Well, we're either trying to show you did it or you didn't do it. That's my dilemma. And if I confront him, the defense mechanisms tell him to shut up. So instead of doing that, you sit down and you start talking about other things, less threatening things, getting that rapport going.
Krebs folds his arms, avoids eye contact, and sometimes hunches into a fetal position. Anxiety alone isn't a sign of guilt, but whenever the subject turns to the missing girls, Krebs' body language speaks volumes.
We all give tells, and as he's getting anxious, he starts to play with his goatee.
As an ex-convict, Krebs knows he has the right to stop an interrogation at any time.
I was afraid he was going to invoke and say, I want an attorney. And once he did that, it's over.
To keep him talking, Hobson plays to a known weakness, the suspect's ego.
Everybody we talked to so far has said one thing about Rex Krebs that I hear over and over again is truth, honesty, and integrity. I think if those are 3 words that I could identify you with, that's what I've heard.
Something man's got.
I've got the eye contact back. He's talking about things that are non-threatening to him.
But building rapport is only the first step. The detective makes clear how much he knows about Krebs by steering the interrogation to his violent and troubled past.
What was it that at that young age, especially 21, pushed you into the idea of forcing sex on women? I wanted him to understand and to know that we had done our homework and we knew a lot about him.
It almost all come back to Dad beat my ass the whole time I was growing up. And my mom knew it.
Yeah, maybe I'm missing something. How does this tie into your mom and this beating, into you forcing yourself on other women?
Hated women.
All women or just certain women?
I think it was pretty much all women. No respect.
He's orchestrating multiple approaches and multiple tools to get what he wants. That's exactly what interrogation is good orchestration.
Working Krebs' emotions, Hobson confronts the suspect with the DNA evidence found on the jump seat of his pickup truck.
You're familiar with DNA, I'm sure, the results and so forth. And guess whose blood that is? Rachel Newhouse. And again, I'm not making it up, Rex. I wished I was.
For nearly half an hour, Krebs listens while Hobson talks.
I need to know what happened. I need to know where I can find Andrea and Rachel. Can you help me find them? Rex, can you help? He's not hearing me. He's thinking about, what am I going to do? How am I going to deal with this? What do I do now? You have to repeat what you're saying to them over and over and over, because they're not listening to you. They're thinking about the consequences. I don't want other people to think that these were just cold-blooded acts of murder. And I'm sure there's a story to it.
Even people who are hardcore criminals don't really view their acts as being that deviant or that different. They had a reason for it.
Interrogators often use this technique called minimization to trigger a confession.
You're the only one that can tell that story. There's always two sides to it. I'm trying to minimize the seriousness of the crime by giving him a way out, a face saver. Look at me. I'm telling you the truth.
He's getting this guy into an emotional state. He's working him very effectively.
I want to get his eye contact back, and so I'll reach down and touch him on the knee and tell him, Rex, look at me.
And those touches are great. It's all right. Let it out. Because it's a connection with another human being. It's a positive anchor. Just talk to me.
But for the next 8 minutes, Rex Krebs doesn't say a single word.
He's bent over, there's no eye contact. He's almost in a fetal position while sitting in a chair.
Confronting a suspect with evidence can spark a confession, but it can also overwhelm them and cause them to end the interrogation. Choosing to remain silent can be a suspect's best defense. Krebs, the seasoned ex-con, doesn't have to say a word.
Finally, he says, Larry, you're beating on me.
Take me back to jail.
You don't want to help me? I need your help, Rex.
Hobson backs down, for now. If he pushes too hard, he could destroy the rapport he's built with Krebs and never get a confession. The next morning, though, Krebs is a different man.
If you could play this one back to him sitting there the second day as compared to the first day, there's a big difference in body language. He knows it's over at this point, and now he's got to figure out how to tell me the story to make it sound like he's just not an absolute animal. We're dealing with Rachel Newhouse and Andrea Crawford, right? Okay, are you responsible for the disappearance of both girls? Are we going to find either girl alive? What killed her?
Over the next 2 hours, Krebs describes how he raped and strangled Andrea Crawford and Rachel Newhouse. He later shows Hobson where he disposed of the bodies. A jury convicts Krebs on 2 counts of first-degree murder. On July 20th, 2001, a judge sentences him to death. Rex Krebs's confession resulted from a subtle mixture of bonding and confrontation. Other suspects think they can negotiate their way out of trouble.
What's the picture that you have so far? I know you were there. You haven't yet told me you were there, but I know you were there.
Next, a cocky street punk thinks he can beat a veteran interrogator at his own game. Interrogators face them every day. Suspects who think they know how to work the system and can avoid admitting what they've done. But skilled interrogators know how to turn the tables on these suspects. April 27, 2004, San Marcos, Texas. Several men brutally assault Raul de Leon with boards and baseball bats. Witnesses finger 21-year-old Adrian Hernandez as one of the attackers. In custody, Hernandez decides that he'll try to find out what evidence the police have on him so he can cut a plea bargain.
He got word through the jailers that he wanted to talk to me about the case.
Adrian, you have the right to remain silent and not say anything. You understand that?
A high percentage of suspects agree to discuss the details of a crime when legally they can refuse.
About 80% of the people who are read the Miranda rights actually waive them and talk anyway.
When Hernandez meets with 14-year veteran detective Scott Johnson, the suspect makes it clear he's ready to cop a plea and wants to know the score.
I'm just curious, between me and you, what am I looking at? Just out of curiosity.
He wants to know what I'm going to lay out there and offer him without him having to give anything up.
As Hernandez tries to gain the detective's sympathy, he gives the interrogator some ammunition he can use.
I don't know if you're aware or not, but in the radio, yeah, I was born again. I did give my life to God, okay?
A suspect's religious beliefs can be an opening, an insight into his mind, what interrogators call a psychological lever.
Psychological levers, in interrogation speak, they are the things that you use to get someone to talk. We'll use race, we'll use religion.
You ever see that bracelet that says WWJD?
WWJD.
WWJD.
Oh, damn.
You know what that means?
No.
What would Jesus do?
Reminding suspects of religious teachings plants a seed of guilt, which can weaken their defenses.
And I'll ask people, are you a man of God? And if they tell me yes, then I want to know, are you a person that not only talks the talk, but walks the walk? And if you can get them acknowledging all those things, it's very hard for them then to back up from that.
If Jesus was sitting in this room right here with us, what would Jesus tell you to do?
Get out of your chest. Be honest. Be truthful.
His eyes were telling me he wanted to tell the truth. He wants somebody to talk to.
I know you were there. You haven't yet told me you were there, but I know you were there. Your eyes tell me you were there. Your smile tells me you were
My
there.
eyes tell me.
Oh yeah, they do. Your eyes tell a story.
My eyes tell a story.
Everybody's do. Say, hey, I made a mistake. I messed up. I'm man enough to stand up for it and make amends, and I want to do what's right.
It's the be the man speech. You did this. I know you did it. You know you did it. Admit your guilt. Cleanse your soul.
The only question is, will Hernandez take the bait? The suspect's body language says it all.
We lean towards things we like and away from things we don't like. Here, he's going towards the investigator.
I'm a sponge here waiting to soak up your information.
I remember hitting them over the head constantly.
Were you using the board or were you using the bat or what?
Bored.
The detective's strategy works so well that he barely has to ask any questions.
I know that, yeah, I hit him. And this big chunk of board flew somewhere. I know he found that chunk.
With a full confession on tape, the suspect pleads guilty to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. A judge sentences him to 14 years. For the detective, it's a classic case of applying the psychological tools of interrogation.
I'm in the police business, but I'm also in the accountability business, and that's what it boils down to.
But accountability goes both ways. Interrogators have a responsibility to use the tools of their trade correctly.
You were there, and you know what happened.
Do not lie to these people anymore. I know you were over there. I know you were over there with that girl when she was killed.
What happens when an interrogator goes too far?
You can either come off the truth right here today. I'm gonna lock your damn ass up. Do you understand that?
That's next. One of the dark secrets of interrogation unfolds in the mind of a suspect. He walks into the room, thinking that he's innocent, but under the relentless pressure of the questioning, he's no longer sure. And yet confrontation alone is not enough to get the truth.
Screaming and yelling, what do? You work yourself up. And then you forget to listen.
July 2002, a passerby discovers a grisly crime scene. The nude and partially burned body of a teenage girl, discarded in a wooded area near Georgia's Appalachian Mountains. Using dental records, police identify the victim as 15-year-old Katie Hamlin. Investigators find bruises on her body, indicating that she'd been restrained. 19 months after Hamlin's murder, detectives interrogate a key suspect, 20-year-old Brazilian immigrant Roberto Rocha. A witness claims he saw Rocha with Katie Hamlin on the night of her murder. Then police find Rocha's phone number on Hamlin's cell phone.
I want to know what happened to Katie Hamlin, that 15-year-old girl.
Detectives need a confession to seal their case.
I've been working on this for 1.5 years and I'm tired. And I want you to tell me the truth. Right now.
What were you doing over there? If you didn't kill her, what were you doing over there?
I wasn't there, man.
Yes, you were. Let me tell you something. I have given you one chance after another.
Yeah, I'm nervous because you guys...
No, you're nervous because you're trying to figure out how to lie to us.
On the surface, the interrogator is using a standard technique, which is to interrupt a suspect's denials.
With denials, usually the strategy is to stop the denial, because the more that person says the denial, the more committed they are to that position, and the harder it's going to be to move them off of that.
I'm alive, man.
Yeah, I don't believe you, Roberto, because
You don't have to believe.
your truck was over there, you were there, this girl died. I know 3 people saw it.
But an aggressive approach like this can actually undermine the primary rules of interrogation, which are to establish a baseline and build rapport.
No. You have got to tell the truth.
Again and again, Rocha protests that he doesn't even know who Katie Hamlin is. The interrogator plows ahead.
You were there when that girl was killed. I know you were. We can put you over there. Now you got a choice, son. You can either come off the truth right here today, I'm gonna lock your damn ass up. You understand that?
The suspect is isolated, is now being accused relentlessly and repeatedly.
You're gonna tell me what happened to Katie Hamlin, because you were there and you know what happened to her.
The fatal flaw of this interrogation is that it is fueled by this presumption, this certainty in his guilt.
You went down there and they dumped the body and you were there. You were there.
Okay, I was there.
It seems like a real breakthrough. Rocha says he knows who killed Katie and that he watched as they dumped her body in the woods.
Yeah. They got something out of the truck. Came down here. They carried her out and...
Carry who out?
You okay.
They carried
Her.
her.
After a 2-hour-long interrogation, officers believe they've tied Rocha to Katie's killing. As an accessory to first-degree murder, he could receive a death sentence. 2 weeks later, police finally verify Rocha's whereabouts the night of Katie Hamlin's murder. They find proof that he was in Brazil at the time. But in that interrogation room, something inside the suspect snapped, and he began inventing details of a crime he did not commit, just to end the terrifying process.
Rosebud. And she had pants on, jeans pants, and a t-shirt. The brown hair girl, whatever.
There are many people out there who adamantly insist that nobody would ever confess to a crime they didn't commit. And if you won't admit that a false confession is possible, then you will never recognize them.
The charges against Rocha are dropped, and another suspect is ultimately convicted for the murder.
It's easy to get a false confession unless you use the tools correctly.
Interrogators will tell you they only interrogate guilty people. In this particular case, their hunch and their intuition was wrong.
Master interrogators use psychological tools to get inside the minds of their suspects. But how do those methods work with a suspect who has secrets of his own?
I practice witchcraft.
A suspected murderer uses magic as an alibi. That's next. The key to a successful interrogation is to judge a suspect accurately as he answers pointed questions.
Get real, I didn't do it.
Some accused offenders are better liars than others.
Oftentimes, they're very skillful at it. They're good at making up their stories on the spot. They're good at keeping their stories consistent.
But what about the suspect whose behavior is unlike anything an interrogator has ever faced? January 6th, 2008.
911, where's your emergency?
I got a fire in the house.
Okay.
Just get my smoke. I got 2 kids upstairs.
Sioux City, Iowa firefighters respond to a blaze at 1420 Nebraska Street. 25-year-old Larry Harris tells them his 2 stepdaughters are dead.
We're finishing it. All right, you stay right here.
Firefighters search the residence and discover a horrific scene. The dead bodies of 10-year-old Kendra and 8-year-old Alicia. But the cause of death seems unrelated to the smoke and fire. There's evidence that the girls were strangled. There's a deep cut on Kendra's arm. And Harris has blood on his fingertips. He's left alone in the interrogation room. Police observe Harris making strange noises, what sounds like gibberish. But when 11-year veteran detective Jay Fleckenstein enters the room,
How are you?
the suspect's demeanor changes instantly.
I'm in a small room freaking out. Don't know why I'm here, and they left me here for a really, really long time. How are you? A bottle of water? Oh, no, thank you, no.
Here's a guy that's bantering and laying down, wailing, and then when detective walks in, oh, how you doing? What happened to the craziness there?
This mysteriously changing behavior could be a sign of mental illness, or it could be an attempt to fool the interrogator. Fleckenstein can assume nothing.
I came in just kind of get your point of view and, hopefully help us out on what exactly happened. I practice witchcraft.
Harris knows he's the main suspect, but he blames the death of his stepdaughters on a magic spell gone wrong.
I must have lit candles in a wrong position. Had the altar on the wrong wall. I mean, there's so many itty-bitty little things like that. Right. And the dire consequences is that's all it lets you know. Okay. Do you know the name of the spell? It's got no name.
Fleckenstein shows interest in order to get Harris to open up and talk.
They need to trust you. I might not confess to you because I think you're arrogant and you're judging me, but I'm going to confess to him because he's treating me with respect.
I've tried curses, big deal, they never worked. Right. I've done spells for protection of my family, my house. Those work, I'm very familiar with those.
An elaborate explanation like this, selling a story rather than just telling it, is a red flag for interrogators.
Liars need to be believed.
If you'd like a demonstration, I can do that. So you can kind of see how it works when I do the spell.
Are they conveying information, or are they trying to convince me of something?
turn once this way, back to the altar, once this way, back to the altar.
I'll tell you what, do you mind drawing pictures?
Oh, sure.
That way, I can follow you?
He's now part of your investigation. He's now taking an active part in helping you recreate the scene. So that's a good technique.
So far, Fleckenstein has treaded carefully, but it's now time to confront the suspect.
Would there be any reason that we would find their DNA on you being either through saliva, vaginal secretions, or blood?
Not that I know of.
The normal person would say, no way, that guy should have been out of his chair. What do you think, I'm some kind of pervert, hurt my own children?
Typically, honest people, people who are not guilty, will leak surprise. Guilty people leak fear, because they know it was just a matter of time till someone knocked on the door.
Harris's convoluted story strongly suggests deception.
I don't subscribe to just Wicca or just ghost Satanism. I subscribe to a small little piece of each of them.
Is Harris truly mentally disturbed, or is it all an elaborate lie?
Are you crazy right now? You keep saying it, are you crazy?
That's next. In Sioux City, Iowa, police are investigating the murder of 2 young girls, discovered when their house caught fire. Police suspect their stepfather, Larry Harris. Harris claims he didn't kill his stepdaughters. They died as a result of black magic. Yet Harris is giving off signals that veteran interrogators identify as signs of possible deception.
Evidently told somebody that was up there that there was a lot of blood.
I did.
It was passed on to me that she said it.
Oh, okay. Don't
remember that one?
I don't know. I don't recall.
Each time he got a tough question, did he answer the question that was posed? He manipulated, not answering it.
If the detective can find a way to make Harris take responsibility for the girls' murder in any way, he can start to build a case against him.
I guess when it comes down to it, is it fair for you to be punished for this?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I f***ed up, and now obviously I've got a whole f***ed family, and that's no one else to blame but me. I can't change it. I can't fix it. You have to blame me because I did the spell.
It's not a full confession, but Harris has just claimed responsibility for the deaths of his stepdaughters. Harris then casually lets out a bombshell that could undermine the case completely.
This is the first time in my life that I would turn it back and change it. I wouldn't change all the drugs, all the drinking, being in mental hospital.
Have you been in the mental hospital before?
I've been in the mental hospital before.
Where?
California.
For how long?
In and out since I was 15.
Harris's statement that he spent time in mental hospitals could set the stage for an insanity defense if he is tried for the crimes. In Iowa, the legal test of sanity is knowing the difference between right and wrong. Unless Fleckenstein can get Harris to acknowledge that he can tell the difference, the case could fall apart.
I don't think you're crazy, man.
I'm telling you,
are you crazy right now? You keep saying it, are you crazy?
No, I'm not crazy.
Okay. Why not?
Because this is my personal belief.
Okay.
It's a key issue. You have to have that young offender saying, oh yeah, I knew this was wrong, and here's why it's wrong.
What about the spell? Right or wrong?
The spell, I believe, was right that I was doing. I was doing it for the right reasons.
Good. Your girl's being dead.
That's wrong for me.
I mean, only 2 people that will be responsible for this, for them actually dying, meaning that they did stuff to kill them, is either you or something from the other side.
Yes.
Nobody else.
Nobody else.
I thought that was an excellent exchange. You've now got the offender saying he's not crazy and then giving you a detailed explanation as to why he is not crazy.
Throughout the interrogation, Harris has managed to keep his body language largely under control. His verbal tells have spoken louder than his nonverbal tells. But now, he begins giving off subtle signs of fear, signs an experienced interrogator sees all too clearly.
The suspect takes his leg and wraps it around the chair that's constrained. So they're really trying to hold something back.
Other signs of Harris's growing tension are less obvious.
You said the girls are dead. Right?
That's what you said. I said that's what they told you. So
that's what they told me.
Obviously, that's what I said.
In that instance, you've seen him hesitate, and now the nervous scratch comes. And then he pauses as he scratched. He braced himself. He knew this was a giveaway. The scratching of the head, those type of gestures are giveaways. This is a bad question for me, and I don't know how to get out of answering it.
The detective then points out the dried blood on Harris's fingers and calls in a technician to take samples.
Whose blood is that, Larry? To me, that looks fresh. I gotta be real with you, man. You haven't even cried that these two girls are dead. It hasn't even fazed you.
After almost 5 hours of interrogation, Fleckenstein hasn't gotten a full-blown confession, but he's come very close.
He got a dozen confession blurbs throughout here. When you confront a person, you say you killed these girls, and they really don't deny it. That's a tacit admission.
Everything you said has been the truth?
Yes, sir.
Have I promised you anything?
Not a damn thing.
Have I intimidated you at all? Have I made you talk?
Yep.
How did I make you talk?
Because you talk and ask questions. You need answers, I give answers.
In the end, the real test of the interrogator's skill isn't what happens in the interrogation room. It's what happens in the courtroom. The results of the DNA test show that the blood on Harris's hands matches his stepdaughter. Harris's attorneys do indeed attempt an insanity defense, but the jury doesn't buy it. He committed first-degree murder and knew it was wrong. The judge sentences him to life in prison. Body language, verbal cues, fears of forensic science, the power of silence, and the all-too-human desire to simply come clean. In the hands of a skilled detective, these indicators become tools to pry into the criminal mind, delicate instruments in a search for truth.
Each one is different. You've got to fit your bag of tricks to mold to that person's personality, that person's style.
Some people can compare it to a battle, some people compare it to almost like a dance. It's an art, and the cops that can do it, they're extraordinary.